What's up, buddy? It's what Jim, and in this video, I'm ranking my top 5 album trilogies. This is also a thread for the vinyl community. If you do a video for me, please let me know and link it in the comment section below. All you have to do is simply say what your top 5 album trilogies are. And you can also have honorable mentions, you don't have to, but I've gone ahead and done that. So I've got 2 honorable mentions, and the first one is Bruce Springsteen from 1975 to 1980, which contains the following albums: Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town, and The River. And my second honorable mention is the Rolling Stones from 1968 to 1971, and those albums include Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, and Sticky Fingers. Now let's get to it with my top 5. And number 5, I'm going to go with Bob Seger from 1976 to 1980. The album trilogy includes Night Moves, Stranger in Town, which is my favourite of these 3, and Against the Wind. Stranger in Town also contains my favourite Bob Seger song, being We've Got Tonight, which is such a beautiful and powerful song that gets to me every single time. The reason why I've only got this album trilogy at only number 5 is because I've only heard all these albums once. But it still doesn't change the fact that Bob Seger is one of my favourite singers from the late 70s, early 80s. I want to give a big thanks to Rich Strickler for getting me into him, and I'm so glad that Rich did because I think Bob Seger is awesome. These albums are well respected, but in my opinion, they need to get spoken about more in the vinyl community, especially Stranger in Town, which in my opinion is an underrated classic. My number 4 is Neil Young from 1969 to 1972, and this album trilogy contains Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, After the Gold Rush, and Harvest, which is my personal favourite of the 3. After the Gold Rush has my favourite Neil Young song, being the title track After the Gold Rush. It's such a beautiful song that takes place in the past, present, and future. I'm also a big fan of the live version, which you can find on Spotify. I love all these albums, and every single album mentioned in this video, to me, are a 10 out of 10. The reason why I've not got Neil Young any higher, though, is because I've only heard Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere and After the Gold Rush once, but I've heard Harvest twice. Neil Young's one of my favourite singer-songwriters. He sounds great in these albums, and he's got some fantastic lyrics as well. I wish these albums were still available on Spotify, but fortunately though, you can listen to them on YouTube. These 3 albums are fantastic folk and also fantastic rock albums. In my opinion, it's got something for all the listeners to enjoy. My number 3 is Tom Petty from 1989 to 2006, and this trilogy contains Full Moon Fever, Wildflowers, and Highway Companion, which is my personal favourite of his. Highway Companion also has my favourite Tom Petty song, being Square One. I've spoken about these albums several times on my channel, so I'll quickly talk about them here. They're fantastic feel-good albums that I think everybody should listen to, but the reason why I've not got this trilogy any higher is because, in my opinion, every single track is great, but there are still some filler tracks. I find it quite weird that my favourite Tom Petty album, Highway Companion, is a double album, because it's not even 50 minutes long, so it could have been one disc, so I don't know why it is a double album. I've always found that a bit bizarre. But my second favourite album trilogy is Bob Dylan from 1965 to 1966. The trilogy contains Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, which is my favourite Bob Dylan album, and Blonde on Blonde, which was one of the first double rock albums. I've heard all of these albums twice in total, and I've enjoyed every single time I've listened to them. Highway 61 Revisited also has my favourite Bob Dylan song, being Like a Rolling Stone. One of the best singles of all time. In my opinion, Bob Dylan was definitely at his peak here, especially with 1965, the fact that he released 2 albums in that year. I find that insane, and I think he did all these 3 albums in about 11 or 12 months, which I just find that incredible as well. It might have even been 10 months, but we'll now get to it. My favourite album trilogy being the Beatles from 1965 to 1967. This trilogy contains Rubber Soul from 1965, Revolver from 1966, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from 1967. I've heard all these albums multiple times, and also these 3 albums are in my top 50 albums of all time. The album covers are fantastic. Every single song I'd say is great to fantastic. I just don't think you can get any better than this album trilogy. Plus, the Beatles are my favourite band, so it's no surprise that they're number one in this ranking. My favourite of these three albums is Revolver, and my favourite song from these three albums is In My Life, which is one of my favourite Beatles songs. In fact, it's my second favourite song by the Beatles. Their albums never get tired of listening to, and I look forward to listening to them all again soon. So that's it, they're my top 5 album trilogies. Please let me know yours in the comment section below. It's up to you whether you have honourable mentions for it, but if you do a thread video for me, please let me know and link it in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed watching. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already. And until next time, keep listening to awesome music, and ciao.